Oh, it's not me.
Oh, it's us?
Look at that.
Oh, boy.
Improvised song.
That's right.
Oh, my gosh. We're going to make everybody do an improvised theme song?
God damn it.
Chris is like, I thought
Yes.
You remember how this went last time?
All right.
That was Chris's favorite part. Guessing
Yeah,
on
that was
Novice
the
Frank.
best. That was the best.
Yes.
Okay. You want to kick us off?
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of the Nerdist School Network's conglomeration of shows all coming together.
That's right. It is an epic crossover, one of many this year. I'm Amanda. I am the Novice from the Novice and Frank.
I'm Frank from the Frank.
From the Frank of the Novice and Frank.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
right. Sure.
joined from two other magnificent podcasts. With us here today, we have...
I'm Cameron Dexter from Timm Talk.
And I'm Chris Lord, also from Timm Talk.
And I'm Trevor Reese from the podcast of Two Worlds. And I am also Trevor. No, I'm Chris Finbrez from the podcast of Two Worlds.
Yeah, and we are here to discuss Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the soundtrack.
Or we can discuss that too. Plenty to discuss there. Or the multitudes of issues about the story. But that's what we're here to talk about. We've had a request because Frank and I, if you guys don't listen to our podcast, that's totally fine. We do this weird, fun little thing to start it off, which is we do an improvised theme song. So we've got practically a band here today. So our standards are set pretty high. So let's do an improvised.
And we have
look around the room.
LaRue. You can hear, if you hear very carefully, you can hear LaRue Bulletproof playing in the background too.
Very faint. That's right. So
That's
let's...
my contribution.
That's
to the
right.
song.
Yes.
You're still expected to sing. So we're going to do a very quick little improvised crossover theme song.
Leaning heavily on Chris Lord.
Yes, this is my favorite part. Always.
Doing the David Hasselhoff part.
That's right.
Oh, that'll be fine. I can do that.
Guardian
Of the Galaxy.
Bunch of assholes.
Surrounding me.
Volume 2.
I am Groot.
One's a living tree.
I am Groot.
My daddy's a planet.
We're gonna face it all. We're gonna talk about it on this epic crossover podcast starring Timm Talk, the podcast of Two Worlds, and the Novice and Frank.
Wrap us up, Cameron.
Boom.
Yes.
Way to take us home.
Yeah.
You know, I do what I can here.
Yeah, it's lovely. It was lovely.
Well, all right. So I guess we want to start off. What was everybody's hopes for this film? We all liked the first film.
Hopes and dreams.
Did you have any expectations of what you wanted to see in this film?
I mean, I was just stoked on it after the trailers. This solidifies my faith in James Gunn because I've always been a fan of his. So I didn't know if I had story expectations. I had high expectations for this is gonna be a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, between Guardians 1 and 2, we've obviously had Deadpool come out, and I was a little worried that not giving it that R was gonna, or they're kind of gonna maybe fight for that R to make it more like Deadpool. But I'm glad they kind of stuck to the original Guardians kind of humor and format. But yeah, I mean, I was excited to go in, and I was even more excited when we left.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted it to be a fun ride, and I think for the most part it was. I think I needed to see it a second time to really get a solid opinion on it. It was a little slow at points, but overall, it was fun. The music was great. It was funny. So yeah, I mean, it was basically what I was looking for. So
yeah, for me going into it, I just really wanted to feel things because that's one thing that the first movie really did. Was I cried at the beginning of the first one, and then I laughed my ass, and then at the end I felt like, okay, these guys are a team. I felt stronger, and so I just really wanted to kind of get taken on another one of those rides.
Well, certainly this one only takes place a couple months after the last film, so in terms of forming a team, they're still not really a team yet. Did you like the idea that we're still kind of seeing them coming together and gelling, or would you rather have been we kind of almost joined them back in real time? So several years have passed and they kind of really have formed a unit.
I thought it was better that way because I think that the dynamic in the first one worked. So I think if we walked back into an entirely new team dynamic, then it kind of would have been a little bit of an upset when you're watching it. You're like, well, crap, what have I missed? That now they're all super happy, and now these two, Gamora and Gwen are like super in love, and they've got 6 babies, and I would have been really angry if I'd gone, and I think if it had been way, way different,
Yeah, and I also kind of loved the B line of the beginning of the movie where like fighting for who's kind of the leader almost between Rocket and Star-Lord. Yeah, I just kind of loved their banter, and that whole fight scene through the asteroid field was awesome.
I think the way they opened was amazing. That fight scene at the beginning with just like baby Groot. First
oh
of all,
my
also
God,
guys,
that
Baby
opening
Groot.
title sequence.
I expected from the top, because I think a lot of times you get like a real cute little character and they're kind of used, they kind of skate through the movie, and it bothers me. I'm like, so I thought I'd get real tired of Baby Groot. I stand a woman mistaken. He is
Groot had
precious.
his own little arc in this movie.
He did. He had like
Yeah.
a whole little arc, and they kept bringing things back, and they didn't overuse him. And so I think that amazing, like the way that scene, the opening scene was blocked was amazing. That like he's just kind of dancing, like rolling through. The music was great, and then you got this huge battle going on behind him, and every character featured. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was one of the most clever things that Gunn did in this movie. It was like starting off with a completely atypical action sequence and just letting it be fun and ridiculous for like the first 10, 15 minutes. Like their dynamic, I think, makes this work for me. And so like I think especially the opening part was the best part.
Well, there it establishes because it's a callback to how the first film opened with Peter Quill dancing around and everything. And the other thing I noticed because I was watching the beginning again, so I'm like, all right, how does it compare? The same little dinosaurs that Groot's fighting are what Peter Quill is like the one that are dancing around. And he like uses a mic. It's the same thing.
God, you're right. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like this is how Guardians 3 will open as well. We'll get like another dance. Someone will dance, or maybe the whole team will be dancing, and we'll get like a whole dance number, and that's like how the movies will open every time.
I'm perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That
You
works.
just keep doing that.
Well, because it doubled down on because the Peter Quill one, like looking back, like it's a lot more tame. It's a lot less stylistic than what this one was, and so Gunn definitely upped the ante on how this one opened while still maintaining like the same general idea.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a full Chicago dance number for the next.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
so many jazz hands.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's great. What did you think?
No, I definitely like that. It was just a really fun way of kind of playing with the audience's expectations. Like, oh, it's going to be a really super crazy battle scene. And then, no, it's just kind of off on the tangents,
Yeah.
which I really did like.
Yeah.
But we've also skipped about one of the coolest parts was seeing Kurt Russell with his sweet,
Oh my God.
70s
Yeah.
hair.
Looking
Classical
good.
Russell, man.
Yes.
Their de-aging technology
It's-
just continues to get better.
He looks good too, though.
Yeah, I
Did
mean,
you
he
s-
still looks incredible.
Did,
Yeah.
Did you guys? He and Goldie Hawn got their stars on the Walk of Fame. How they didn't
Nice.
have them before, I don't know.
Right?
Did you see
Come
the
on.
photos from that
Yeah.
ceremony?
Big Trouble Little China alone deserved one.
Yeah,
The Thing.
they guys,
God.
they're so in love and so cute.
So I was listening to an interview that he did, and he said compared to like Robert Downey Jr. for some of the de-aging they did for him, or Michael Douglas, they used less on him because his makeup artist, who's been with him, I think he said like 24 years, did a lot of makeup work on him. So they had to use
They can
less.
pull. They can use tape to pull you back.
That's right. They
They
ended up
do.
using-
They pull it underneath the wig.
He had a lot of,
Little face tape.
as Kurt said, he has a lot of tricks. He had a lot of tricks in his bag.
I was really hoping you were gonna say that like I didn't have to use that much de-aging technology because I just look younger than them.
Yeah.
I mean, he does.
He really does.
But
that,
I mean, he's also been around so long. I'm surprised that they probably just have enough footage, like previous footage, to map on as well. Like Kurt
Yeah.
Russell's been around for like so long.
Yeah.
It was like I remember Benjamin Button. People were talking about like when you see like really young Brad
Brad
Pitt,
Pitt.
you're just like, oh my god, like that's what he used to look like. Like
Mhm.
that's and he's like this like icon, and Kurt Russell's like the same thing. Like seeing him back with like the feathered hair and everything is like, oh damn, like that's classic Kurt Russell. He's Walt Disney's last words.
Yeah.
Like that's and seeing him back in his prime was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. he
That
looked
hair
good.
was magnificent.
He looked good,
Ah,
guys.
that hair was so good.
It still is till this day.
Oh yeah, he still has amazing hair. I also just love that "Brandy" was a heavily featured song through the whole movie because that is one of my favorite songs.
is so
And just to
good.
start off right there, I'm like, okay, yeah.
I
I'm on
thought,
board.
and he kind of had a little Shatner moment in there. I thought he was going to go full on Shatner when the song is playing and he's like singing the words. It like walked that line, and I was like, oh my god, what is going to happen? But it worked. I think like, they pulled it back just enough. Yeah.
All right. Well, Chris, you mentioned the Brandy. So real quick sidebar. Which do you prefer? Mixtape Volume 1, Mixtape Volume 2?
I don't know because I only have seen Volume 2 once, and I knew more songs I think this time than I did the first time around. God, I don't know. I'd have to look at them again. There's so many good ones in there.
It's like the same as like the movies almost. Like Volume 1, like the first Guardians, like just zips along. It's just hit. And this one is like a more sophisticated like palette with the music. And it's like, because like the backbones are Brandy in terms of like Ego's relationship with Peter Quill's mom, and then Peter's relationship with Gamora. But then also James Gunn has said The Chain by Fleetwood Mac, which was used in like the
So
main
good.
trailer,
Oh my
used in
gosh.
this movie again to great effect. But he said that's also a strong basis for this film, like thematically with the family. And so you have like a much more sophisticated musical sound, but it doesn't have the same zip as like
Well, you had Jackson 5 on Volume 1.
Yeah, Volume
You
1 just had, like, all the
Cherry
high
Bomb.
energy.
It was just super high energy. Yeah.
This is what you make like when your first mixtape in like college, when you first like get tasted like, oh, like I'm gonna ruminate about the music. And the Guardians is what you make like senior year of high school, like fucking get pumped up, everything's ending. Hell yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. What a great review. That's a really good summary.
Well, even with using like father and son during what happens with Yondu at the end with the man, I just thought that was really well used.
And a little Groot, little baby Groot on his knee.
There you go.
Yeah.
That
Did you
was
relate to that? Because you got a kid.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I put
You
it right on my knee.
Dug real deep.
Frank, do you have a hard time with explaining stuff to your daughter? Does she bring stuff like Baby Groot?
Well, luckily she's been out of town for the past few days, so I haven't had to worry about that yet. So we'll see. Where do Baby Groots come from, Dad? When I have to have that conversation with her.
Like then you can just show her the first one and be like, well, Baby Groot came from selflessness and sacrifice.
You sacrificed yourself, you just don't remember. You used to be a grown adult person, but you sacrificed yourself, and now you're a child.
So we've got we made our first main bad guys because of course they're trying to protect these batteries from this interdimensional monster, and then of course Rocket decides to steal it from them. In terms of bad guys, how do we like these bad guys here that are for our first? I can't remember their name because
the gold ones.
The gold ones.
The Sovereign.
The
Sovereigns.
Yes. Aisha, I think, was the main.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aisha.
I thought they were hilarious. I honestly, we'll talk about it. I don't think they're the main villain, obviously, but they are kind of background villains, them and the Ravagers. And I was worried that they were going to be like too like robotic and stoic, maybe a little bit too much like Drax, but they were very much human-esque in the way that they reacted and talked to each other. And their whole sequences during the battles and all that, they made me laugh a lot. They were funny.
I was so hit by it. That's not fair with them using all the and then I realized oh right, drones. But when they're using their VR, their virtual reality fighting things, I'm just like that's not. I was just hit by this really this sense of injustice of that they don't actually get destroyed because they're just all remotely they're phoning it in.
I love that they still bully the people because they treat it like a video game.
Yeah.
And when they die, you suck at this game.
Yeah, you suck at this. You're the worst at this. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, when they're introduced, you think that maybe they're gonna be kind of too perfect and kind of bland. No, they're super petty, all the way through, and just really high on themselves. And a lot of great moments of humor they use there, just always kind of knock them down a peg or two, all the way through. And I really enjoyed them. Yeah.
And there are some awesome 80s shout-outs just with the arcade kind of feel of it. And then later on with Pac-Man coming into play.
Oh my
that's
God, that was
awesome.
amazing.
Pac-Man.
I'm gonna make some crazy shit.
Yeah. That
I
felt
also-
like an improvised line.
There was some amazing one-liners in this movie. The best for me came from Yondu at the end.
The Mary Poppins.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
that
That was
was
a good
great.
one.
We pick up Yondu in this film. He's basically just kind of hanging out after we got the bait and switch pulled on with him from Peter Quill last movie. But now we've got he's hanging out on our bar world, and we get Sylvester Stallone coming in.
Oh, I couldn't. I'm
Yes.
what did he say? I had a couple of those moments where I was like, what?
Yeah, because he comes into Stark, and I was wondering how they were going to take his costume from the comics and interpret that into live action. I thought this is a good compromise between the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the look, and it wasn't because we have at work we have the art book of the Guardians, and there's some art where they were like, I think it was before Stallone got cast, and they realized, oh, he's not gonna wear a helmet. Like they were going like full blown, like way traditional in some of the like sketch and some of the concept art.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it was awesome. I love that, and then all the other Guardian homage characters of the previous the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comic book, Stallone's side team. I thought they all were really cool adaptations of those characters too.
We had a lot of special characters making appearances, right? Howard the Duck,
Yeah.
who I think was voiced by
Yeah.
Seth Green.
Yeah, he
in the-
came
in the
back.
film,
Your
yeah.
boss.
Yeah, one of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the Watchers
Oh,
too in that great cameo.
that literally made everything worthwhile for me. Like that blew my mind. That is the greatest little Easter egg cutscene Stan Lee cameo I have ever seen. And the fact that there were 3 Watchers kind of leads me to some connective ideas going on in the future.
Well, didn't they confirm that now Stan Lee is the same Stan through all the movies, and that he's like the informant for the Watchers?
Yeah, that's what it's meant to
Oh, I didn't
convey.
know that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I read that afterwards.
I don't know
didn't get that
anything
from the
about
movie.
I don't know anything about the Watchers. I saw it with my fiance, and he's like, "Oh, I know who those guys were." He was really excited because he like knew who they were. And then when at the very end, when she reveals Adam, and he leans over and he's like, "I know what that is," and I go, Infinity Gauntlet? And he's like, yes. And I was like, I know things! I got so excited. I don't, past Infinity Gauntlet, I don't know anything else.
I'm starting
did
to
you-
lose the title of novice over here.
Yeah. Did you start heavily making out right in the movie theater at that point?
yeah. It's like, knowledge is power, and I'm so turned on. No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, adults just get robot prostitutes. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, little
In
robot
Yondu's
hookers.
room, those were robot prosties.
In
They
Yondu's-
they technically are canon in the Marvel universe. You know that now.
Okay, obviously Tony Stark's gonna head over there at some point.
That was
He's gonna get some sort of space
Nookie.
STD.
It's like step your game up, Ultron.
Robot
Do you think
prosty.
Ultron would have A, been a more interesting movie, and B, been a more successful villain had he been designed to look like a prostitute bot from this movie?
I think if you kept James Spader's voice and then made him a prostitute bot, yes, that would have made that movie perfect.
There are no strings on me.
So yeah, why don't we dive into Yondu? I mean, what do you guys think? Because after the first film, he was okay, but he was not necessarily my favorite. But after this film,
He was
boy,
cool in this film.
Yeah. I really enjoyed
I
it.
felt that way about a couple of characters that maybe didn't have the biggest impact on me on the first one, but then got way developed in this one.
Gamora's
Like
sister.
Taserface.
Yeah,
Taser.
yeah. No, Nebula especially. I thought Nebula was just like
Nebula.
a space Nazi. She was always just like mean and barking at people. Klika, klika. In the first one, I was like, that's a space Nazi if I've ever seen one. But this one, you actually kind of
You
felt
feel
for
for
her.
her,
And Yondu, like, I never really took into consideration how deep the relationship was with him and Quill. You know, you kind of got where he was going to kill him in front of the men and then kind of let Peter talk him out of it. Like, okay, he wouldn't want to hurt him. But this, like, you really got, like, he feels like Peter's his son.
Yeah. Were you about to say something, Cameron?
No.
Okay.
You sure,
No,
Cameron?
Stop pointing
Sure,
at me.
sure.
No, sorry. I want to make sure we're not like cutting you off.
Cameron?
Hold on.
Well, if you insist.
No, I was just gonna say that I was so impressed. I didn't realize at the end of Volume 1, I did have questions about some things, but it wasn't. It's not like I was satisfied. Like I was not satisfied at the end of the movie. Like I didn't feel like, well, I'm not gonna be able to. I have too many questions. But it's like questions I forgot that I had from Volume 1 were answered in Volume 2, and I feel that they didn't beat you over the head with it. Like the whole like giving, like I saw it coming that Ego gave his mom the brain tumor. Just like, yes.
Okay, wait.
Kurt Russell.
Maybe I missed something there. Did he explain why he did that?
See, this is one of the things I like though, because it made me think about it. But he did it, I think, because he didn't want the temptation of staying on Earth. So he killed her, so he wouldn't be tempted to stay.
He told him I had visited her 3 times after I left, and I would have came back a 4th time, and I would have stayed. So I had to give her the.
But I kind of like that I had to think about it for a
Yeah,
minute because I
yeah.
was like, wait, why did he do that? What was his motivation? And then I was like, well, that makes it even. It was so selfish, so awful.
ego.
I get
totally
I guess
ego, but yeah.
I didn't quite buy that moment.
Okay.
I don't know. It felt like they needed an excuse for Peter to really turn on him, and that was their justification. It was a little I don't know. It didn't work for me quite so much. I just felt like they kind of glossed over. Like, oh yeah, and I gave your mom a tumor.
You didn't see
Surprise!
that? Man, see, I thought it
No.
was building. I thought it was building to that. I was like, nope, this planet's too
You're just
awesome.
far
It's
more
too good to be
perceptive than I am.
true. He only loves his mother. What's going on?
Well, the way that I didn't think that he'd given it to her. I thought that he might have had like a cure for it and didn't give it to her. And so that was what was going to cause the rift.
Well, at first I thought maybe the cancer was a byproduct of her sleeping with like a celestial.
Yeah,
like it was
yeah,
like
that
too
went through
much
my
for
mind as
her.
well.
That it was going to be like it was almost like giving her like radiation or something. I don't know, guys. But I thought for sure he gave it to her. I'm just saying I'm really smart and intuitive. That's all. That's all I want you guys to know. Yeah, no, but that and then the relationship. I didn't know that I needed that filler, like the tie together of the relationship between Quill and what's his name? Yondu. I didn't realize that I needed that until this movie, and I did need it. It was really nice that moment was really nice when you kind of learn like why.
Just
he
sort of,
kept
yeah,
doing it.
like everything in their relationship, and also like his relationship with Rocket. Like I think they really
Yeah.
figured out how to expand his character by making him like this reflection of the other characters. But also, Michael Rooker is the only person who can like unironically say like "daddy" and not have it be weird. Like
Yeah.
he's like, that man may not, that or like you
My
may have been your father,
father.
but he wasn't your daddy.
Yeah,
And it's
you're
like that
like-
was like it didn't feel weird or anything. I just
yeah.
like love that. I love what Michael Rooker brings to his characters, and like especially with Yondu, like he just this role felt tailor made to him, and I was glad to kind of see him get like a cool send off for his character.
I think we had like just enough of him. I think like I loved him. Like I think he was really great, and it was so sad to see him go. But I think that it needed to. If he'd been around for 3, it would have felt weird. Like if they'd saved him or.
Well,
something.
and
I-
also even like the amount they use him in the movie was good too. Like because it felt like it's sort of everything was sort of like slowly built to and revealed, and then you sort of think about it and go, oh, that's what they were doing. Not like in a bad way, like it was missing, but like if Yondu would have been around a lot more, you would have really had it hit over the head of like Peter's 2 dads.
That's right. Yeah.
And I think they used it, and you just sort of see that in the end when you start seeing them interacting, and you see that this is sort of going towards like an end game for one of them. I was convinced that Sean Gunn's character was going to die. Like just like, oh, he escaped. Like he only escaped to be cannon fodder, to be Coulsoned, and be like a genesis of like action character. And I was convinced that he wasn't going to make it through.
He actually became one of my favorite characters in the movie. Like he was fun in the first one, and I wouldn't ever say he was underutilized, but he's like perfectly used in this one. He actually got a chance to shine a little bit.
Well, and he's also the motion capture for like he is like the other Guardian because he's the motion capture for Rocket.
Yeah, he's there all the time, but
Yeah.
he actually got to be himself for a lot of this. And he's really good. He's really good.
I love the design of the new headpiece for. I
The
thought
fin?
that the
Yes.
fin is like somewhere there was a designer who was like, yes, my idea that didn't get used in Volume 1, they're using it this time. Like it was it was such a cool. The design of it was so awesome. It was like a great 2.0.
Well, that's how it looks in the comics.
Is
on
it?
Yondu, yeah.
Okay. I wonder why they didn't do it the first time. Volume
I-
1.
It looks ridiculous. Like
Get outta here.
if you
Stop
see-
it. Stop it.
Well, the original Yondu's costume is one of those like this is only okay in comic books.
Oh, really?
No person should wear this costume. Like no, this should not be made flesh and blood. Like, but because he looks just like flamboyant space Hawkeye. Like that's his original costume.
Oh, so
And so his fin is like the same shape, but like 2-3 times bigger.
Okay.
Like it's like a giant like shark's fin in the original comic.
Oh damn!
okay.
I just looked it up. I mean, this is great for an audio medium, but yeah, this is.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
No, no.
You were spot on with the use of the word flamboyant.
I can't unsee it.
I love it.
Isn't there a shark guy in one of the things that we read that was like all the Guardians? Isn't there a guy with that's like
King
got a
Shark and Suicide Squad, do you think it maybe?
No, I tried to block
Or
that
Orca?
out.
I tried to look at it.
No, there's like we read one that they all go
Oh,
to a space prison
um,
and there's like a shark guy there.
Well, I mean, he kind of looks like the Guardian from X-Men.
And that's our time. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry. Nobody else
Yeah,
can do that.
this made me wonder though, like, in terms of the story, they were kind of filling in some of those cracks, like how much James Gunn had when he was writing the first film. It's like, all right, if this gets a sequel, this is where I'd want to take this, or how much of it was just after the first one was done. He's like, all right, now where can I take these characters? I'm really curious just about how he came together to this with these characters and the beats in this script, because it really did a good job of fleshing out those little moments from the first film.
You know, I tried not to. I mean, I saw it, not long after it came out, but I tried to not read any reviews or like hear everything. I just kept hearing was it's awesome. The critique I kept hearing was that there was too much going on. That there were like too many characters. And did you guys find that? Because I actually disagreed. I thought it was all really well handled, and I left with very much feeling like that's how you do it. Take note, other superhero movies. Like they've introduced all of these characters. They've altered relationships. The relationships are growing. They have, these villains at the beginning, but it's not like the real big bad. You've got all of these different people in there. Did you guys find that it was overwhelming or too?
No, but I think that critique is something that's a little bit more unique in superhero films.
Yes.
Especially with something like this where like every supporting character has some like established comic book history character. Like the Ving Rhames character, like Michelle Yeoh, Stallone, all those characters, Yondu, a lot of the Ravagers, Taserface, like all these characters. But if this was just like an action film, just like an original film, I don't think that complaint would be there necessarily, because it's just these are just people filling these roles, and I think because they have such histories, it comes with this expectation. So it's just like, oh, Taserface is going to be in it, so you better service him and give him his full story. It's like, no, they use Taserface to take the place of like the mutinous thug, and it's just I think it sort of elevates that sort of expectation to like if you have so many characters, like, oh, then they must be trying to cram everything in, cram it all in. Like, this wasn't Batman versus Superman. That was trying to cram everything in.
Thank God for that. Yeah. I didn't think that there was too much going on. I thought actually I liked every character's independent arc. I liked kind of how much time each one was given. It was appropriate, varying on like how supporting or mainstream they were. I guess where you see that maybe the idea of there being too much going on is that I found the middle of it pretty slow and maybe a little disjointed. The fun, especially the first like 15-20 minutes when they're all together, was amazing. And then as soon as they all kind of split apart, it did slow down a lot, and I thought it really lost momentum for a long time. Even though I liked everything that was happening, I started to be like, I want kind of the fun to come back into it. It kind of reminded me of Rogue One a little bit in that sense, where it's like that middle section was really slow, and I was kind of expecting it to build like a huge finale that made it the payoff of everything in the middle. I didn't think it quite got there, but I guess I liked everything that was happening, but it just was kind of slow.
That's when we all turned on Chris.
I thought the one bit, because I could agree with you on that where they split everything up, but I thought when they're in jail and they're trying to get Groot to find the prototype.
Amazing.
I thought that was cut together so well.
Stupid and funny.
Just to get the reveal of the toe. It was just like,
nicely done. Did you just have a drawer of toes somewhere?
Then let's never speak of this. Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
So what did you guys think of the original Guardians team?
I feel like they're too big of names to never see them do anything else again.
I feel like they have to come back in the third one, but I think it's going to be prequel-ish in the fact that we show their early days as a team and the kind of missions that they went on, because it was alluded to by Yondu. He's like, we weren't too different than your guys' team. So I would like to see some scenes of that. And we know they can make people look younger with that CGI.
Well, I want to see what magic they can pull on Stallone.
Yeah.
Let's see how much they can de-age him.
So I don't know much about the Guardians comics. I didn't really know any of those characters either.
I don't either.
Their introduction felt kind of odd because I don't know anything about them. Can you guys kind of fill in like who they are and why
You
it's
said
important?
earlier,
Okay,
when you
so-
said earlier original Guardians team. I'm like, haven't we been talking?
Yeah, it's like,
about
wait,
that?
for volume 1? What?
Okay, so the thing with the Guardians of the Galaxy is the original Guardians of the Galaxy were from late 60s, early 70s.
Yes. Marvel Superheroes number 18 is their first.
Yeah, and they were basically Marvel's ripoff of Legion. They were the far-flung future team that were like the mirror of Into the Past.
So these guys, the original ones, were supposed to be super cool, right? They were trying to be super cool, whereas the newer Guardians are like, we're all like rejects and we're a weird raccoon and stuff. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was also just sort of when it was done. Like this is, it's late 60s, like late Silver Age stuff.
They
so it's
didn't
still sort of
understand irony.
Yeah, it was definitely not ironic, but it was also like you had like they were also missing their major character, Vance Astro, who's like the Captain America. He has Captain America's shield with him. So there's a character in the original Guardians who's like running around with Captain America's shield. So they're very much supposed to be like future space Avengers. And then but then they introduced like the current Guardians, who are also like the contemporary for everyone, like the Avengers and everything like that. And so they like retconned it so they're like inspiration, or like they take the name first, and then these ones 1,000 years later take it over again. But they're like the original ones, but they also like didn't last long. And that's also why like none of them came back in like the reboot when they because this came from like a huge space crossover, like in the middle of the Guardians aren't like as this form, or what, like 12 years old, Frank?
Yeah, they. I mean, I guess like Abnett and Lanning did like a series from 2008 to 2010.
Yeah.
They came after the Annihilation and the Phalanx and all that.
Yeah. So they were like this team that formed as part of this huge space crossover of Marvel, and then they got their own thing. But yeah, they're a fairly new idea.
Yeah,
still.
and if you get a chance, those 2-year runs, like 25 issues that Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning do, it's great. And there's a lot of stuff that you can see that they pulled for the films, but it's fantastic. You got Mantis, Moondragon. You've got Captain Marvel's daughter, who takes the Quasar bands for a while. You've got Bug from the Micronauts. He's on the team for a little while. It's a really cool combination of characters.
So Stallone in this film, what? Because he was what do they call them, Ravager or Scavengers? Ravengers.
Ravagers.
So in this film, he was a Ravager, but was his character in this movie an original Guardian?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's why Rooker says to Rocket, "Your team reminds me of mine."
yeah.
That's like the tongue-in-cheek like mention of like my team was the original Guardians, and that's why they remind me of that.
Okay.
And so yeah, so they put him in as the Ravagers in this film, but they're meant to represent those characters. It's like Ving Rhames is like this big ass guy named Charlie 27.
Okay.
Michelle Yeoh's another one of the characters. And then like there's the mystical guy. Like everyone in that post-credit scenes, they're like original Guardians.
So it's safe to assume they're going to be in Volume 3?
One would hope.
I mean,
Yeah.
James Gunn said Sylvester Stallone's not done in the Marvel Universe, so
Oh.
you know, like
They're like, but he's coming back as Judge Dredd.
God, I just want Space Rocky so badly.
Oh my gosh, I would watch.
fight you, Thanos.
That'd be awesome. I would watch that.
Speaking of cosmic beings, did you guys catch that Eternity little shout out?
Oh yeah.
When Ego's kind of showing Peter his plan, and he's seeing it through his eyes, and his eyes kind of light up all starry, and he looks up and he says, "I see it, Eternity." Eternity is its own being in the Marvel universe, who kind of just looks like a solar system, but like in the shape of someone's body.
Oh.
So I think leading into even like Infinity War and James Gunn kind of confirming that he's gonna lead the Marvel Universe cosmic in the future, like I'm excited to see all this shit fucking come into fruition, man.
That's neat. I didn't know that. Frank's just showing. It looks like we're passing notes or something.
Yeah.
You're just showing me characters from. I assume you're showing me from the originals. Is that
oh
what
yeah,
these
this is
are?
Eternity right here.
So this is Eternity.
It's that kind of
Oh,
cosmic
This
okay.
look.
person he's talking
Wait, did Eternity have anything to do with like the cosmic Spider-Man costume? Because there's some similarities there.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
it's,
anything
Is
about that
Captain
character.
Universe is
the
like
hero
a-
that could be you,
yeah,
the Enigma Force.
but that was sent up by Eternity, was it? Or
I don't know. It's just one of those like universal forces that come to people in need, and then
didn't Eternity just die? Didn't they just murder Eternity in the comics?
Uh,
Somebody.
the
Or
living
the-
tribunal.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
living tribunal was murdered. Eternity is currently in chains by the entity of the first.
Oh my gosh.
Wait,
you
Wait, didn't
guys.
they? Was
many-
it Eternity who greeted Ulysses at the end of Civil War II? Was that
Yes.
okay? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
Can I ask you how many characters in the Marvel universe are like in chains or in a coma, or like isn't Tony Stark like isn't Iron Man like in a thing, and now
Yeah.
Eternity
They
in a
killed the
thing?
Watcher.
And okay, so they killed the Watcher. So like, aren't there like what do they?
And Nick Fury replaced him, and his
right.
costume is chains.
His costume is chains.
He's like chained.
Yeah, chains and like a big like hooded robe that he wears all the time.
That
He looks
seems
like Jacob
impractical.
Marley. Like if Jacob
We're
Marley,
Marley
was
and
the
Marley.
was the Grim Reaper is kind of his look.
And that's Nick Fury now.
Yeah, that's Nick. That's
Why?
classic Nick Fury.
So are they just like putting all these guys in like suspended animation to then be like, haha, they're all out? Like what's happening?
Well, they took that Nick Fury off the board because everyone loves Sam Jackson Nick Fury
Yeah, that's
way more,
true.
and so they just put him away because they can't like unacknowledge that the original Nick Fury existed, but they can also just like, but we can make you the Watcher.
That was a terrible series. Original Sin. It's you read it on Marvel Unlimited.
Well, with that endorsement of it being a
Yes.
terrible
Yeah.
series,
There actually is some cool stuff. You get to see the Punisher and Doctor Strange hang out for a while.
I like
which
both
is
of those
cool.
people.
And that's a cool relationship you never really get to see that often.
I had a.
I think I
never
got a
mind, we won't
crossover
talk
going
about
on
this.
right now.
They do, yeah. Like for the Marvel, yeah, the digital line. Yep. But enough of like
Guardians, Guardians,
yeah,
Guardians.
Chris Lord is
Guardians.
like, what?
I was going to say, speaking of Nick Fury, we got one of my favorite Marvel cameos ever, David Hasselhoff.
Yes. Solid.
Twice.
Yeah,
Well played, Cameron.
Yes.
Well played.
Nicely done.
that's good.
For people who don't know, there was a Nick Fury David Hasselhoff film, which was fan.
What?
He couldn't even finish.
Wait, has anyone actually seen that?
Oh yeah.
I have.
Wait, we should let the listeners know that before we even started recording, it was actually said that Cameron has seen, I think the quote was, all the terrible movies.
I do my best.
Yeah, all
I
the
really
shit,
do my
yeah.
best.
Yeah, for anyone who listens to our podcast, I'm basically just constantly berating Cameron for his terrible choice in movies. He just hasn't seen any of the good ones and seen all the bad ones.
So what? So it was a Nick Fury movie starring
David
the
Hasselhoff.
Hoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nick
and
Fury.
is
It
there
was
like
what,
a-
like 92, 93?
I think so.
Like that, yeah.
I
Early
almost want to
90s.
say it was later.
And Lisa Rinna was in there too,
when they
right?
should have
Yeah.
known better?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh man,
Yes.
I think this. Well, it's like off topic. I'm sorry. I was
Oh,
well.
like,
It's
'cause
off
so
topic
much
and
of
then
it's
it's
been
about
on.
Guardians in the Galaxy. So I was thinking that this movie for me is kind of so the Thor trailer before this movie that played.
Yes.
Like, are you guys excited? Because I think that I want to know, one, if you're excited about it, and two, I feel like Marvel, like the Guardians movies have done for Marvel kind of like what Deadpool has done. Even though Deadpool is Marvel, I think Deadpool did for like the more adult, darker superhero movies, and that they're like, well, that's been successful, we should market like that. Like for me, the Thor trailer looked and felt like it was trying to be Guardians.
Well, you got Taika Waititi, is a very similar director to James Gunn.
Yeah, I agree with
He's-
that.
and he has a very distinct voice, the same. But also, there was going to be a little bit of a connection. There was going to be a scene with Collector, or not Collector, Game Master. He was
Oh,
because you can
yeah.
see in the credits, Grandmaster.
No,
he's
let's
in the
keep it Game
credits.
Master.
yeah.
It's just a lot of D&D.
Space Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Space Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
He's in the credits of Guardians.
Yes.
And that's because he was gonna be. James Gunn said there were 5, maybe 6, and we know it's 5.
Yeah.
So the 6th was gonna have Grandmaster
Why did
and
they?
somehow connect to Thor.
Huh. It's
I don't
just-
know,
it's just
but
weird.
that one looks cool because it's like the influence he's going with is like European. Like it looks like it's a heavy metal comic. Like a lot of the designs, like especially a lot of the alien designs you see, like in the background of Thor Ragnarok, like a lot of that looks like old school, like heavy sci-fi, like 80s kind of comics from Britain. And so that's what I'm kind of excited to see those other influences. But yeah, I definitely think Guardians opened the door, and I'm excited that it influenced Thor because Thor is definitely the weakest series out of all of Marvel's stuff. And they have,
That's fair. Yeah.
and well, because like Captain America, there's an argument of whether or not Thor or Captain America is the worst first movie in a series. I don't know if we should necessarily start that argument, but I feel like one of those two is probably the weakest starting one. Maybe Incredible Hulk, but let's stop. But where Captain America definitely jumped up in massively in quality going into Winter Soldier and then into Civil War, Thor did not have that in Dark World and probably stepped back. And so like now that we got like not only is this the 3rd movie in a series, but it's Thor after 2 bad movies to be so radically changed, and like it's gonna be awesome, I think.
Yeah, I thought it even like with the text that came up with like with the electricity and everything, it felt like, oh, get the guys that cut the Guardians trailer to work on this, you know? So I think if people are excited about it, and I have not seen any of the Thor movies. I was going to, and then I heard they were terrible, so I haven't. But they're on the list.
They're not terrible.
They're not terrible. No, I really like the first one, and I think the second one has its moments. I think it's fair to say though that of the independent franchises within the Marvel universe, it's probably the weakest. Yeah, I think. Well, Captain America first half is great, less so the second. I do see what you're saying that it does. You can tell there's a huge Guardians influence on Thor, and I think they've decided like, okay, the cosmic universe is going to be a huge point probably for Phase 4, and we're just going to take what James Gunn has set up and really inject it into everything else. So I see where you're coming from, but I also feel like it still feels authentic to the movie we're going to get. I guess
Good.
kind of like
That's-
along the lines of because it's Taika Waititi, the fact that it's weird seems to be okay.
That would be my hope because it looked like they were focusing so much on the comedy. And I was like, I don't remember Thor being like particularly funny. So I think if everybody's jazzed about it, then I hope that it matches the trailer. Does
One
that
of
make
the first
sense?
things that I did when the trailer came out was like, were the other Thor movie like trailers like this exciting? And they weren't.
No.
But they all end on jokes. The same way this
Do
one, the Thor one, ends with the "he's a friend from work" joke.
Yeah.
Like, and that's even the funniest joke out of all the other trailers, like for the other two movies. But they all, that was one thing I did notice
That's
is
all
that
they're out.
well, Thor, the two movies are pretty humorous, but this just seems to definitely like own that.
Okay.
Like that was it was incidental, like funny. Thor doesn't understand what's going on, kind of humor, and this is like directly like making Thor an active agent in what's funny about stuff.
Well, I think that's because they're not on Earth anymore, so they
Yeah.
can't really use the like, oh, he doesn't understand our culture things. But also, isn't this just like the trailer only shows maybe the first third of the movie, right? Because
Yeah, hopefully.
but from all the like summaries that I've like the synopsises I've seen, this is supposed to be like not a buddy cop movie,
A
like
road trip movie?
road trip movie with Thor and Hulk. So I think this is like the tournament is going to be such a like early part that I don't know. I'm excited to see what else they have in store.
So are we going to do a crossover podcast about this movie?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Probably
already
not.
planned.
Great. Okay.
No.
Great. Okay,
Frank,
good.
you shut
It's already
your mouth.
planned. Everybody but Frank is going to do it. Frank's just going to do his own podcast with just him.
That's
and he's
right.
going to be like talking to himself like, what do you think, Frank? Well, I don't know, Frank.
Well, Frank's just gonna watch Thor: The Dark World again and talk about that.
Just Jane Foster just like floating in that. Ugh, man, not enough of that.
Kat Dennings in it.
So going back to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we've talked to dance around a little bit, but Ego, Kurt Russell. Do we like how he's represented in the film? Kind of starts off as like the father that Peter's been excited to get to play catch with him. And then,
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the catch sequence, like it's so cheesy, and they just lean into that so hard that it actually works.
It does.
Like,
It
the
should-
slow
it
mo
should've
made
been
it
terrible.
perfect. Just two grown ass men playing catch.
There was some amazing slow mo to music in this movie,
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Like they really utilized that slow mo walk with like a fantastic song playing. I think that the build with Ego was great because I from the beginning I'm like, nope, bad guy. He's a bad guy. He killed the mom. And then you're like, well, maybe, but he's got like a little twinkle in his eye, and
He's
he
Kurt
seems he
Russell, that
keeps
buys a
calling
lot.
him.
Yeah, I mean, we all wanted
Yeah.
him to be good, right?
Yeah.
I was disappointed when he turned bad. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it was heartbreaking.
It was like, but you're Kurt Russell. You're so cool, and I like you. But to be fair, though, like it's one of their best villains, I'd say, because you do
Yeah.
really like him, and then he's
Well,
an
now-
asshole.
Well, he's just selfish because people are ants to him. Like, because what is a person when he's been alive for millions of years already when he met her? And, like, he just seemed to have, like, a novelty about her that you can tell, like, he never really truly loved her. But I like that it wasn't like, ho, I have this grand plan. He was just an immortal being who wanted to expand and increase his knowledge and understand the universe. But, like, it was a more humanistic, like, Brainiac kind of plan.
You sounded like Marvin the Martian. Like, oh, Earthlings.
Yeah, whatever character that was, I want that character to be in a Marvel movie. Can you just do
I got this
that?
grand plan. Yeah, it was pretty great. I thought he did a great job.
I mean, because in the end of the first film, it's really teased about like, your father's from an ancient race, and then we finally learn about it in this film, and then he's killed at the end of the film. Are you bummed that he's kind of taken off the table in this movie? Would you like to have seen him still alive to be around?
I mean, I'm not fully convinced that he won't come back. But if he did die and that's how he died, I guess, I mean, I'm okay with it because they got fucking Kurt Russell to come in and kill this role. And I think that's a steal. And I like the fact that they didn't leave Peter with powers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like, okay, you introduce it and you have him Dragon Ball Z battle through inside this planet. Okay, yeah, that's cool. And the fact that they take it away from him and leave him like how we saw him at the beginning, like that's Peter Quill, Star-Lord.
But maybe still with powers though, because he was able to handle the stone.
Yeah, because
Right,
Ego
because-
was alive, and he says, as long as the light is here, you'll be
Oh,
able,
so-
you'll be immortal like me.
Yeah, so I assume at this point he's no longer mortal, which is good because I would have been kind of unhappy if they. I mean, they could have done an interesting story about him living beyond everyone else, which I guess kind of thematically ties back into even the first movie with his mom, but it also would have taken all the tension away of like, oh, he's just immortal.
Yeah,
Don't worry
and I'm
about him.
wondering if he does have any like innate power just because of his just even though his father's power source is gone, there has to still be something within him, but also like not to the degree that he can fight the way he did or have like
Right.
the like lightning bolt and those powers. But like I wouldn't be surprised if he's still able to like do the Infinity Stone
like,
thing or have like
made-
innate like
made-
abilities.
Made with magic sperm, like.
Are we gonna
think he
get
should
He has a
be.
penis.
Are we gonna get?
I love that moment. I love that
Drax,
they just asked,
goddamn
yeah.
Drax.
Drax had some great. I kept expecting it's kind of the same thing because he just kept like laughing, like
Yeah.
Tourette laughing, and I thought, well, that's gonna get old. It didn't get old.
Mhm.
Just didn't get old. I enjoyed it.
I feel sorry for the people sitting next to me in the theater because I laughed loud and I laughed hard. And in that movie, I laughed often.
Yeah.
Jax, what did he say about his? He's like, oh, my nether regions became engorged.
Oh,
Perfect. Perfect Drax line.
One thing I liked in terms of art design was when Kurt Russell is taking Peter Quill through and kind of showing the history.
Oh,
just
that
the
was
way,
beautiful.
I thought that was just really
yeah.
well done.
And super creative. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, that was cool.
yeah, it was like some weird kind of like mannequin sort of things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it-
super bizarre.
Do you think he takes him out and plays with them when no one's on the planet? It's
Oh,
just,
yeah,
it's
he can do
just
whatever he
him and
wants.
Mantis there.
Yeah.
You think like, here, take that down. Let's play with it. I mean, I would.
That whole sequence kind of reminded me of like old school Disney in some way.
Yes.
I can't say specifically what about it, but just like
It's
the
a
feel
small
of
world.
it. That's what it was.
Kinda like it's a
yeah.
small
Well, yeah, they're like little like Hummel figurines. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're just like these weird like glass pewter statues. Like, it kind of reminded me of like the opening sequence of like Hellboy. Like when you take this like chance to, because obviously like that story needed to be told, but I like it when the director takes the chance to visually depict it in an interesting way like that.
Because just to keep the man like almost like a mannequin face, yeah, but go the extra length to really fill out the hair and the clothing. It's like, oh, all right.
I think that it worked and that it was just disturbing enough. It was like just off enough. You know what I mean? How dare you?
Jesus, Frank. Speaking of disturbing, I like the weird, because it was like it's such a beautiful sequence when you initially get the story told, but then when you get the darker undertones and had that weird sequence of Kurt Russell banging all those space ladies
Yes.
and just seeing that,
kissing them.
yeah, and just seeing like the passionlessness of it, and it was just so like weirdly haunting to see that, just like see it expand and expand and expand, and then to see Gamora and Nebula come across the bones of all the kids from that. It was just
Yeah.
such a weird like twist and something that I wasn't expecting, but it was just weird like how something so beautiful became so twisted, like with very little ease.
Yeah. I also love that it explains too. It just explains Peter, right? I mean, he's out there just sleeping with every weird alien on the planet or in the
Now we
universe.
know
too.
where he
now-
gets
yeah,
it from.
Of course, I mean, you're gonna get it from someone. You're gonna get it from Kurt Russell. Who
Although Peter presumably pulls out. Right? Because he doesn't have all these caves full of kids.
that he
Not that we
knows
know of.
exactly that we know of. I mean, he's the kind of irresponsible guy who would just never follow up on that. So
I'm never going back to that planet. No worries.
Yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of, well, I guess at one point temporarily immortal, like third generation Celestials out there that he doesn't even know about.
What have I done?
Well, we've also got Mantis. We were mentioning that. So how do we
Yeah.
like her addition into the mix? I thought it was it was a nice job.
Yeah, and I thought it was great pairing her up with Drax,
Yeah.
who just feels everything out right and will just tell you. So for her to just get those emotions straight, like when she started pointing at Quill and laughing after Drax was, I thought that was a perfect moment.
Oh, I like their other moment where he's like sitting, very like just kind of contemplating life, and she like puts her hand on his shoulder and just
Balls,
balls.
because he's thinking of his kid.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
Yeah.
just see the weight of Mantis provides that opportunity for Drax that you see the weight of emotions that he feels at all
Because Dave
times.
Bautista will not cry on camera.
He won't do it. I also love her reaching out to Gamora and Gamora being like, "I will fucking kill you." like real sharp. It got real serious real fast. She don't want to be read.
But even like when that comes back around at the end, when she does touch Gamora, it's like she tells Gamora you're afraid, and like you can tell just how just Gamora would never ever admit that and have it said out loud to her face was like a huge turning point.
Yeah,
really clever.
I love what's Gamora's sister's name?
Nebula.
I loved their dynamic in this film and the way that it played out. I thought it was really cool and had kind of a nice resolution, and it didn't feel too forced.
No, because I felt like Ego is not just the name of the Kurt Russell's character, but kind of influences a lot of the other story arcs in there as well. Like, especially in their relationship too, where you just thinking that, Gamora's the good guy, Nebula's the bad person, but then realizing that growing up, Gamora just she kind of cast a blind eye to everything that she was unknowingly doing to Nebula.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Amanda, it kind of gets back to your point about the questions you didn't realize you had coming out of the first one. The fact that they explained why Nebula is all cybernetic so
my
much more so than
God.
Gamora, and,
was-
like the darkness that came from.
And I love they didn't
really
linger on it.
interesting.
It was just
Yeah.
the one line.
Yeah,
It let that
because
sink in.
I'm sure James Gunn made it a point not to have Thanos in this movie, but expanding on just how sinister this Thanos is gonna be in the future, like it just with those couple of lines. Hey, he plucked my eye from my head. He took my brain out. He ripped my arm off. Like that just, you know what I mean? Like this guy's not to be messed with.
Yeah.
Going forward with Nebula, do you think that she's just being set up? Because of course you're seeing like the list of people that have something they want a vendetta against Thanos. But I almost feel like Nebula's being set up as like she could be easy cannon fodder in Infinity War to kind of show you how dangerous Thanos is. Like she could be very expendable compared to everybody else.
But I think that's what is important about establishing their relationship, because I think at the end of the first movie, cannon fodder, ready to go. At the end of this one, like now you get the emotional stakes and you see what he's done to her. That I would be upset if she was easy cannon fodder. Like I think they're gonna follow the book a little bit closely, and she's gonna be the one to pull the trigger. I think that's what this movie was the argument of why Gamora or Nebula gets to be the one to end Thanos in the Avengers movies.
You think so? But I also like Drax is like he was bred to kill Thanos. That was his mission.
He wants revenge for a one-time event that I feel the Guardians have numbed the pain of that, and I feel like that's a proper compensation for not being able to be given that. He's found a new family that I feel Nebula is the one, because none of the Avengers, like who, Tony Stark's gonna do it? No.
Well, but I
It's
mean,
got to be someone from these movies.
at the same time, though, these characters, I mean, as successful as they've been, even within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're not as big as the Avengers themselves. I mean, it's even, kind of come out that the Guardians of the Galaxy will be supporting characters in those movies. So I agree with you. I would like to see someone who has like a really emotional stake in this, like Nebula or Drax, be the one that eventually kills Thanos. I don't. Do you guys think that Marvel will be willing to have it be a minor character in the grand scheme of things of the whole universe, be the one who like has that critical moment, or are they going to
These-
hand it off to like Tony Stark?
These are the ones I care about.
Squirrel Girl.
She's got her TV show coming up, so maybe.
There we
Yeah.
go.
I feel like after these two movies, these are the characters I'm emotionally invested in. Like I like the other movies, but these are the people that I want to see vindicated and that I want to see in love and all, you know what I mean? All those different things. I want all the feels, but just with these guys, I'm like, Tony Stark, I'm like, cool, man. Like I like him. I think he's really cool, but I'm like, I don't care if he ends up with Pepper. I don't give a shit.
True, but I mean, I can see why they give him that moment, because basically he's the one that started this whole Marvel film franchise. So to kind of give him that hero moment at the end, like, yep.
Well, and if this battle's going to take place at Earth, I think that's where the Guardians have the weakest case for being, because they.
But he's from Earth. Star-Lord is from there.
Well, first of all, they call it Terra in the Guardians movie, so they didn't even call it Earth.
Oh,
I
really?
feel like they are. Earth is, or the Avengers are Earth's mightiest heroes. I think that's the case that could be made for why they should be the ones to do it. And I think you're right with like Tony Stark. Like, he was the one who started it, so maybe symbolically, him or Cap. Like either Cap chronologically started it, Tony Stark, traditionally actually started in the real world. And also, if it's on Earth, them defending Earth, you'd want one of the Avengers to pull the trigger. But I think you're right, Amanda. These are the ones you actually care about, because it wasn't like a machine produced emotional thing of like, oh, we need to have an emotional beat, which I think a lot of the Avengers solo movies fall into, of like mechanical screenwriting process. This is when the emotional beat stuff.
Yeah.
And James Gunn, even if he's doing that, made it feel organic.
Well, this one is driven by teamwork and friendship and loyalties, whereas the other ones. It is. Yeah. And you family.
Because when they're at the end and they're having that picnic on top of the skyscraper.
Yeah, Mi Familia. They're all hanging out up top there.
They get the
popping
Coronas
some
out.
Coronas. Yeah, it's great.
But I think that, like, I don't know. I think that I would agree more, with Trevor. Like, the emotion in the other movies feels a little more formulaic to me and a little more artificial, whereas this feels very organic. And you do believe, like, every character had their little time, right? Even you're like, oh, baby Groot, you're just a cute little thing. And then it's like, oh, well, I actually ended up using him, and called back to the whole size thing, right? Like, this kid is small enough.
Well, and
so-
like, Chris, you were right with like his story arc. Like his whole thing was like he can't do what he's told, and then he does at the end. So like they even serviced him in that sense. And it was even like it was breaking my heart when
shit out of him.
with that scene.
Oh, that was
whole
rough.
scene,
Oh
and
my
then
so
gosh.
mean to poor baby Groot.
But then when Ego's trying to take care of all the Guardians, and he's just starting to get crushed in the little cave, I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Do you think so? After Civil War, we got the Thor like mini video, like him living in Australia.
Oh yeah.
I would love for them to do a teenage Groot version of that.
Oh
Just
yeah.
like
Yes.
a 5 minute, because I'm sure he'll be fully grown by the next movie. But I just want to see like one single story of teenage Groot.
Teenage Groot was pretty funny. That little...
I'm hoping that that's the next iteration because that's the one, because after that he's adult Groot and we've already seen adult Groot, and so yeah, I think you're right, but I hope that they give it the full movie and not just like a little supplemental thing to like, here's our family vacation in between movies. I hope we get to see teen Groot.
I want him to find love. I want a teen Groot rom com.
So you just want to see Marvel make like The Fault in Our Stars with
Groot, yes,
It's like
100%.
more Groot, less cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
So did everybody cry at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
No.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
no, I
close.
totally
Chris Lord
fucking
did not.
cried.
I can see that.
I did not.
That's right.
But I have no emotions, so this is not a surprise to anybody.
I'm kind of a nice
Yeah,
hearted
it was-
robot.
It's such a touching speech. I was moved to tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised on how it ended because I had talked earlier about my emotions through the first movie. This was just laugh nonstop, and then just really. I mean, I wasn't like a bummer, but I legit like cried like the last third of the movie.
I want
The
that.
last shot of the movie is Rocket's like solitary tear as he's looking out watching the Ravager fireworks, and so that's like a pretty heavy final shot. I mean, granted, it's not really because these movies are like still 5 minutes of stuff, especially with we get
There were
five
post credit scenes.
Oh
Yeah.
fuck yes, I loved every single one of them.
Yeah, I was almost frustrated. I mean, I was obviously very upset at the end of the movie, but I was frustrated that like I wanted to end on a happy note. I don't go to a Guardians movie to like kind of feel bad at the end.
Yeah, I was caught by surprise.
Yeah, and I was very touched by the moment. Like it definitely hit me. But I leaned over to Chris afterward. I'm like, I don't want to be sad at the end of a Guardians movie.
I think that's why they're like, fuck it, we gotta have 5 post-credit scenes,
Yeah.
man, just to
Try
kind
and
of
make you
bring
bring it
everyone
back
up,
up.
and as they leave the movie theater.
I want to ravage your funeral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what so you guys are my witnesses
Okay,
now.
we'll
when I
light you up.
die.
We'll
Like,
light
you
you up.
light me up. Send me out with flowers.
We're
and
all
glitter.
gonna break into our own separate factions, but upon your death, we shall all reunite
Return.
in space.
Great, perfect. Thank you.
Speaking of breaking up into other factions,
No.
I have to peace out early because I have a show that's
How
starting in 15
dare
minutes.
you.
So you might, if this record maintains its flow, you might hear my team going up.
And what's your team called, and where can people see you if they're
We
local?
are the Voltage, and we perform every other Sunday at the Nerdist School in West Hollywood, right next door to Meltdown Comics, which is a great comic book store that you should check out.
And your
yeah.
show, The Voltage, that sounds like a punk rock group. What do you guys do?
say it like your name's the Voltage.
With a voltage. Ow! High voltage. That's actually like one of the songs, like, ow, danger, danger. High voltage. That's the song that would come out to. You might hear it.
Great.
You guys will hear it. The audience might not.
I hope so, because the world needs more Electric Six. So
And you guys do improv comedy.
Yeah, we do improv comedy every other Sunday, 7 o'clock at the Nerdist School.
Cool.
Check it out. And check out Guardians.
Yeah. Thanks. It's like a little thing. Do you need to leave too for your AfterBuzz?
I'm fine.
Okay, just checking. I'm just checking on
You know, I'm not a
everybody.
quitter. I'm not
I
going
just
to
wanna
quit
make
on
sure
this
that
group.
every-
Yeah,
Okay,
now that
alright.
that asshole Trevor's gone,
Yeah.
we can really get this talk started.
Boo!
Well, I was talking about the rocket. I thought this, what they did with Rocket in this film, just in terms of like giving so many emotional beats to just a computer generated character, but really well done, I thought.
Oh yeah, no, Rocket. Again, everyone got their due in this movie. I thought, and it really developed these characters in a way that I didn't foresee in this movie, just based on how fun all of the trailers were. You know.
You know who I hope gets their due in this movie? All of the visual effects artists. I just want like a fucking round of applause. Do you guys? This is an explicit podcast. I can say fucking, right? Is that okay?
Oh, ours is very explicit.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
My parents right now are just like, my parents listen to our podcast, so they're just like,
Aw.
I'm sure they're just like, oh no,
Our daughter's a
This is
sailor.
that Frank's doing.
It's the worst. But yeah, man, just the visual effects in this movie were amazing, and I saw it in 2D. But I actually want to go back and
Oh,
see
you
it
got-
again,
you
and I
got to
want to
see
see
it
it in
3D.
3D.
You
But
got to
sometimes
see
I
it.
think
Really?
the 3D. Sometimes I think the 3D is distracting, so I
I'm with
usually see 2D.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes me sick if it's not done well. I would go see this one in 3D, but I felt like, God, the visual effects, everything, like the sequence with the arrow taking everybody out
It
on that
looked
ship,
gorgeous.
looked
Just all those red
beautiful.
lines with the music. Oh man.
So pretty, and then when they get to Ego's, Ego's planet, which was Ego, but like just when they reach out, and you want to reach out and touch everything. Everything looks so dense and lush, and I was just real jazzed.
I mean, the whole thing does look gorgeous. And what I find so amazing with these movies is that, I mean, even talking about like Yondu's costume and stuff, they put stuff on screen that should look ridiculous, and somehow it does it. Like, I think even when they have Kurt Russell's face, when Ego's face is the planet.
Yeah, it should have been so stupid.
Yeah, that should look absurd. Again, it helps that it's Kurt Russell, because even as a planet, the man looks good. But it didn't seem silly, and that's I mean, a huge
And it looks
credit.
kind of beautiful, just the way that they have it set up, like the celestial head from the first one, Nowhere, just having a floating head in
Yeah.
space, like that shit looks beautiful.
And just even seeing as he resurrects himself right before the big final battle, you can just tell it's as he's growing himself up from the skeleton to flesh. Just he's got that Kurt Russell swagger as he's walking down.
Oh yeah.
That was really nicely done.
Kind of bouncing off the point of cinematography, I really enjoyed how like every single character had their like desktop background moment where they just like there's nothing happening on screen. It's just like a wide shot of every character with just nothing in the background, and I'm like, that's my
Money
new
shot,
background.
hero shot,
That's my new background.
hero shot. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's great.
So in terms of who was your favorite Guardian in this film? Was it the same one from the first film? Did it change? Did you have somebody else given the developments in this film? Because certainly I was just like Drax, somebody that it was like he was fine in the first movie, but boy, I thought he was executed really well in this
Oh
one.
yeah.
I would agree. I liked him better in this film. But we were also introduced to him sooner, and we kind of got his thing sooner. Like we understood already from Volume 1 what his personality was like. I feel like that takes a few lines to explain.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I like about this is that you don't have to worry about meeting the band or
Yeah.
making the band. The band's already there, and you get to just watch them have fun.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, trying to think about the first one, probably Rocket was my favorite in the first one, just because he has this particularly biting sarcasm that I really like. I don't know who would be my favorite in this one. I don't know if it would still be Rocket, just because I love his arc in this, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with Kurt Russell. He's not even a Guardian, but he's so cool, and I was so upset when he turned bad. Damn it.
I think I would say Rocket was my favorite in the first one, and I'm really happy they brought back the like running gag from the first movie of like, leave the eye. It's like, what do you need the eye for? It's like, just because it'd be hilarious if he doesn't have his eye in the morning. In this movie, I don't know. I mean, I can only think of Baby Groot, even though like he doesn't really have a story. I just can't like. I love him so much.
I mean, that sequence where he and Rocket are just debating about how to activate the bomb.
Right.
Oh my gosh,
So
so
nicely done.
funny.
And you just think you're watching two, CGI characters have this debate, but it's still just.
And
they do it
wasn't
so
that a
well.
trailer? Wasn't that part of one of the trailers?
Yeah.
Oh god, and it still was as great. It's still better than the trailer.
I'm also like the joke in the trailer was great with like, do you have any tape? But the extended version of that, I was
Oh.
cracking up the entire time.
So funny.
Did you ask Nebula? Yeah.
Well, he was next to her when she was next to him when I asked. Then you didn't ask, basically.
I think my favorite Guardian in this movie was Yondu. Just even like introducing him onto the team officially, that moment, and like that kind of redemption that he saw in himself at that time, and just I don't know, a blue man sitting in front of a window as it snows with robot prostitutes behind him. Like you just respect that guy.
Yeah. There was the moment when like him and Rocket are having their heart to heart, and
Oh,
he's
God.
like, "We're the same." I'm like, "Don't say that, because that means you can't make it to the next movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
We don't need two of you.
We can't have two of the same character."
But I thought it was so awesome, like how like okay, he sacrificed, but he died the same way that his men died, sticking up for him. And I thought having him go out that way was fucking awesome.
Oh man. Oh, P.S. Gamora still probably, but I liked Rocket a lot more in this movie than I did in the first one.
Like Gamora?
I think she's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine, but I don't, she's
I
fine.
think her and
I like
Peter
it. I
were
started-
awesome in the first movie.
I
I just
s-
think with these other guys, they had a better story for them.
I started to see her humanity more in this one, and I like that. I like seeing her relate to another female character on screen and have it not be a romantic competition. I think that you don't see that, especially in superhero movies. So I just respect the hell out of that. I liked Rocket a lot in this one, and I liked Groot a lot in this one too. Guys, I liked all of them. Oh, shit, what was the thing you were just
But
saying?
the Peter Quill, Yandu and Peter's woman, they're out in space, and he's
Oh my gosh, when they like drag, that was dark for a PG-13 movie. This got real dark, and I was
Yeah.
delighted.
Yeah.
But like when they drag, they're like dragging his guy, and they like put him in you see them put him in the like the capsule and release him into space, and then they zoom out and you see that it's like his whole crew has
There's,
already been
dozens.
killed.
Yeah, out there.
Dozens of guys out there. I was just like, oh no. It was it's just such a well revealed moment.
Yeah, it was kind of surprisingly dark.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the whole movie was definitely darker than
It was. I
than
was
the first one.
surprised.
His dad gave his mom cancer.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
that's true. We
for
kind of forgot.
real.
Yeah, that might be the darkest part of the the whole movie there.
But that you did not buy that moment though, where he as soon as he hears that, he snaps out of it and immediately starts blasting him away with his pistols.
I loved Peter's reaction to that moment. I thought that really worked for me. I just didn't quite buy that as a plot point, but I liked how Peter. I mean, that would be Peter's response. He would just blast the shit out of him.
When they crushed his Walkman.
Oh yeah. Oh,
man.
that's one. Like they took away all the cool stuff. So like I guess the Milano's
The
gone.
Milano's gone,
Milano's
yeah.
gone. They crushed his Walkman. His helmet got destroyed. So it's like all of the
Oh, I
his
forgot his
cool
helmet
style
too.
trappings are kind of
Yeah.
gone.
That's brand new gear for Volume 3.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
already got the next product placement.
That was so
This is a
fucking
Zune.
hilarious. They did not need to call out Zune like that, but the fact that
Oh,
they
I
did makes
love
it
it.
fucking precious.
300 songs.
I love that. It's just like making fun of
That's
it.
what everyone on Earth is using. It's
like-
called the Zune.
Like the secondhand market for Zunes now is going to go huge because everyone's going to be trying to buy Zunes for Comic-Con this year.
That's
Like
true.
Get on it
everyone
now,
wanted
everyone,
the,
yeah.
the Szechuan sauce after Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh.
There's this guy that's got just a closet full of Zunes. He's like, yes.
My
This
day
is
has
what I was
come.
waiting for.
Honey, I told you if I held on to these.
I'm sure it's like one of James Gunn's friends. Like, just please, man.
Please, James,
I sold on my
please.
Walkmans
Really
and I
try-
missed out on that opportunity.
I'm really trying to make Zune work for me. Really trying to make Zune a thing. Oh man, yeah, that was really great.
Because I imagine in Avengers Infinity War, when they actually come to Earth, there's got to be some payoff for it. He's going to find out Zune's not where it's cracked up to be. And he's got to get his,
Got to upgrade.
yeah.
I hope not. I hope it just stays Zune.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because so the next time we see them is going to be Infinity War, and you can imagine on some level James Gunn has some input, but it's going to be the first time the Guardians are going to be in the hands of someone other than James Gunn. I mean, I'm curious to see how that's going to work because it's so his movie.
Do we know who's directing Infinity War?
The Russo brothers.
Yeah, So it's the
They
same.
directed Civil War.
Yeah, and Winter Soldier,
Mhm.
and same writers too. And to be fair, like though that whole team has done a great job, kind of bringing in other characters, doing it, doing well. I think actually even Ant-Man was better in Civil War than he was in his own movie, so they
Yeah.
can do it. But these characters feel the most particular to their creator. I'm really curious to see what that's going to be like.
What, as someone who does not know much about the Infinity Gauntlet, all I know is that it's mysterious. And when I see something that people are like, "Oh, that's part of a bigger thing," I just go Infinity Gauntlet, and it happens to be right.
But yeah,
That's happened. That's paid off for me.
It's
like
a good
3
card to
times so
play,
far.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, Infinity Gauntlets, Thanos, whatever. What should I expect from this story? Like, what's coming?
Well, Thanos is going to collect them all, put them on the gauntlet, and at least in the miniseries,
Which is like a giant ring, right? It looks like a giant ring.
To glove.
a giant glove.
It's a glove.
Yes, remember at the
Oh,
end
that's
of he goes, "So you want something done, you got to take care of it yourself." And he puts
Oh
on,
yeah.
grabs a
Okay.
big- yeah.
Big glove. So who he puts what? It's all of those stones,
He's
right?
going to put all the stones on there, and then at least in the miniseries, he goes out with Death, and just to court her favor, he snaps his fingers, and half the people in the universe disappear.
Is this Death like Sandman Death?
No, the Marvel version of Death, who's basically just like a skeleton with a cloak on her head.
Is that? Don't we see her in the Thor trailer?
That's
Is that
Hela.
Hela. Sorry,
That's
Hela.
Oh,
Hela.
she's
Who-
scary
Which
looking.
I don't
She
have
looks cool.
like any idea if they're gonna use her for Mistress Death.
oh yeah, I don't know.
They could.
That's true.
She has that line in the trailer where she kind of looks down and says, Asgard is dead. It doesn't look like she's saying it in like a boastful way. It looks like she's like reporting to someone, Asgard is dead.
Yeah, and by all means, if you're gonna bring in Kate Blanchett to the villain, bring her back again.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, she
absolutely.
looks awesome in
Uh-huh.
that.
But the fact that they actually went and they gave her the cool Hela headdress,
Yeah.
oh, that's so
she looks
awesome.
cool. I don't know anything about her, but she looks very cool.
I should know anything about her either, really.
Really?
That's cool. And then Carl Urban's playing the Executioner, which, at least from the trailer, that one little snippet is based on a Walter Simonson Thor comic, which is one of the best ones, where you get to see the Executioner basically stand up to all these living dead and just mowing them down. It's awesome. So
And Jeff Goldblum's character is which guy?
Game Master, according to Trevor. Asshole.
Or Jeff Goldblum in space.
Yes,
according
that's
to
right.
you
Space
guys.
Space
Space Jeff
Goldblum.
Goldblum,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
he's the collector's brother.
Okay.
Benicio del
that's
Toro from the
right,
first
yeah.
Guardians, who did the hands.
Oh, okay. He reminded me. I wish everybody could see what you guys just did with your hands. You had like tiny little strokes.
Are we not doing phrasing anymore?
He reminded me of Stanley Tucci's character in The Hunger Games in this trailer.
Oh, that's a great idea. They should bring in Stanley Tucci. Do they have other brothers? The Game Master, the Grandmaster. Damn it, Trevor.
They do
And the Collector. They have.
They do have the Champion, who's like a huge, big brute that's like a boxer. There's one Marvel 2-in-1 annual where he boxes all these super strong guys from the Marvel Universe. So he ends up going finally against the Thing, and the Thing just won't quit. That's how he ends up winning against the Champion, but he's another one of those.
Is he a brother of theirs?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, because he's currently in the Thanos comics.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He's another one.
All right. Well,
Looks
let's,
amazing.
then Stanley Tucci should play him.
Yeah,
even
that's
even if
it.
he's a giant character, I don't care. It should still be the Tooch.
Come on, he played a piano in Beauty and the Beast. He can play the Champion. Come on,
He
you
can play
do it.
anything. Yeah.
Yes, that's
He's
right.
the Tooch.
He's very versatile.
There you go. Speaking of other characters in ad, I mean, James Gunn was thinking about adding Adam Warlock, and we do get a nod to him in the post-credit sequence. Do you think Restraint was the best use there? Or if he had added Adam Warlock in it, would it have just been like one thing too many in this film?
Explain who Adam Warlock is.
Yeah, I don't know much about
that,
Adam
That got a
Warlock.
really deep inhale.
Well,
from
you were
you.
asking like, what am I in store for this Infinity Gauntlet?
Uh-huh.
And when you're talking Thanos, maybe Infinity Gauntlet or otherwise, Adam Warlock usually plays a big part of that. He's basically the opposite of Thanos. Like he's the one to truly oppose him. Like we were talking about, well, who's gonna kill Thanos? I don't really see anybody that can kill Thanos other than maybe Warlock, and even then, I don't see Warlock killing him because there's too much of like a peer relationship between. They have an awesome relationship, but like he's huge. He's the opposite, and he's that powerful.
We know that Adam Warlock won't be in Infinity War. But to be fair, we don't really know yet what the relationship is between Avengers 3 and 4. If it's a continuation or what. So maybe he'll be in by then. It's hard to know.
Yeah, because I mean, if they had him in, it probably would have been too many characters.
Yeah.
But if you had him in, you could have snuck him in the first or Avengers 3 coming up, and it would have been okay. So now it leads me to believe either they're going to change his character, or the first Avengers is just going to be Thanos collecting all of the gems, and then Avengers 4 is going to be him wielding the gauntlet.
That could be, yeah. And Adam Warlock, I read a little bit about him. He possesses the Soul Gem.
Soul Gem.
Which we haven't seen that yet in the MCU, right?
I don't think so.
Wait, which is the one that? Which is the one that Vision has?
Isn't that the Mind
Mind
Gem?
Gem.
Yeah.
How many gems are there right now I'm going to call it the MCU because it sounded really cool when you said it. How many have
just
we
say
seen?
I coined that term.
How many have we seen in the films?
So the Tesseract is space.
Mm-hmm.
The ether is
Power, right?
Is it power or no? Is that reality?
Reality, because the purple one was power.
But yeah, purple one's power. It's a lot of P's.
Did you say regality?
No, reality.
Reality.
The
I
regality.
heard that's the regality. I'm like, because it's a stone.
Yes, my stone.
There should be
You
a
a
regality
ghost?
gem.
Spooky royal ghost.
Everyone gets so classy when they wield it. It's like, oh, what is this? Everyone's wearing top hats? This is amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, then the power mind gem is inside the vision. So that's what we've seen 4 of them, right? And then so what's left? It's the soul gem and then time. Oh, time. We saw time in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, there's one left.
So it's just the soul
So-
gem.
Yeah. So
What
Cameron's getting up to pee. He wanted to just
We
like
had
quietly
bottles in
share the
here.
message. But everyone's looking at him like, where are you
This
going?
is going to
So-
end up being like an 8-hour podcast where we all just slowly drift out until it's
wild
just-
speculation, guys.
Yeah.
Is Cameron going number 1 or number 2 right now?
Well, he did
We should
specify
set a timer.
in his message that he wrote to me
We
here on
should
his
set
phone.
a timer.
But do you feel like he would say that even if he really had to poop?
No, I feel like he'd say it.
Do you think if he went and peed now and then later in the day he went and pooped, do you think the poop would live up to the first pee?
I don't know. The bar has been set so high, or let's be honest, so low at this point. Just given the conversation we're having.
We've gone terribly off track.
Soul Gem.
Yeah, Soul Gem's the
Soul
last
Gem.
one.
Soul Gem. Okay.
And of course it's I hear it's gonna appear in Black Panther, right?
Oh, is it?
That's what I heard.
Oh.
I was like, it might as well appear with the dude who played James Brown, right?
Yeah,
the King
That's
of
true.
Soul.
Yeah.
true.
But isn't the Godfather of Soul?
Godfather
Whatever.
King.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Mhm.
But getting back, I feel like after Civil War, I feel like the Russos have a good track record of handling a large amount of characters. So
And
even
they did pretty good with Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like, and you're right. I feel like they would not do anything that James Gunn didn't feel like he kind of gave his input on.
Yeah, and it seems like they're all pretty collaborative. They're all kind of offering input here and there and supporting each other. So
I'm nervous.
I'm excited.
about what?
Nervous. Because I had so much fun in these movies, in the Guardians movies. They're so, and I always leave being like, man, that was even better than I expected. Because I always go in for fun, and then I'm like, wow, I might have learned a little something. Like they're so good, and I'm just so nervous about what's gonna happen when the characters are so they've become kind of like precious to me, and I'm like worried about what's gonna happen when you get so many of them on screen, and I feel like. This was the largest cast of characters that I have seen on screen with the best quality. Does that make sense?
No, that's true.
No, that's
And
fair.
I'm worried when you add these guys to all of the when you bring together stitch together the whole Marvel universe. I don't know how you do it well. This isn't like I don't mean it to be a jab on the filmmakers. I don't know what the answer is as to like how you do that really well. And there seems like there's going to be so much shit going on. How do you balance all of these characters and feel like you're serving the character properly, but still like pushing along the story?
I mean, I guess if you look
How
at,
do you do it?
Civil War is our best roadmap to that, right? I mean, that's the kind of the biggest movie they've made so far. And I think that the solution they showed in that was that the characters who need to have real arcs, get them. And what you do with everyone else is give them a moment to do something cool. And I guess in that regards, the Guardians are good supporting characters because you can kind of put them into situations and they are so fleshed out and so engaging on their own that even if they only get a little bit of screen time and it's just there for them to be like awesome and kind of part of whatever the broader journey is, that'll work. Like I think they work really well when you can just kind of drop them in and let them be great, and then you kind of move on and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the hope, at least, that that's what they
'Cause
do.
I think the best thing about crossovers, like especially that big, is seeing how characters from different comics interact with each other. So to see
Yeah.
how Tony Stark and Peter Quill interact, to see how Drax and Hulk interact,
Yeah.
to see these combinations that you don't normally get to see. I think that's the fun thing about a crossover event like that. So I feel like those would be those cool moments that Chris was mentioning. That
And in general, they're good about finding places to do that. I think, again, this
Yeah.
movie is a great example of that. That the pairings they did in general were really interesting and fun and made room for dynamic things to happen. It wasn't just the same shit over and over again.
And there's a shitload of characters in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline itself, but they give them like little cool moments to shine, because there's a moment where Adam Warlock walks over to the Hulk and Wolverine, who are just sitting alone on the balcony. He's like, I wanted to talk to you guys because I know you guys are okay with killing. And, you know, and they say, if you have to do it, if you see a moment, kill that fool, because shit's about to get nuts.
That's
so
badass.
if you could
Really
just...
awesome.
Yeah. So you better smoke them fools for the block.
Question though, first of all, I still think it's really hard because we started a crossover with 6 people and we're already down to 4. So I don't know how well we're doing. And they've got
I
way
think we've
more
gotten
people.
stronger.
That's right. We've gotten stronger. Yeah, fuck you, Trevor. So okay, but Wolverine is gone now. Yeah.
well, he was always in the Fox side, so he was not going to be in one of the Marvel films.
But I'm saying you could have these characters that deserve like their own movie and shit, but you could just put them in this larger ensemble and just give them their moment
Okay.
without it feeling like too cluttered, you know?
Yeah. We'll see.
And they've got 2 films. Good thing about that is now
And they're gonna be like 3 hours, right?
Oh my
you
gosh.
feel like they're going to be. I mean, this was 2 hours and 16 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I think, a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, and it didn't feel like it was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I know that some of the parts kind of dragged, but I never felt at the end I was like looking at my watch going, oh, please hurry up.
Oh,
already."
no, yeah. And even if, like, I thought that the middle was slow, it never felt like, can you please wrap this up? Like, I was still enjoying all the way through. I'm just the first one for me was like this just brisk, fun, just crazy adventure. And this one just had a different structure. And that's actually a good thing they did it. It just maybe didn't click for me the first time around. I'll probably watch it again and listen back to this like, Chris, you're wrong. You're an idiot. Just shut up.
Get ready for like an
Go away.
addendum there. Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
Everybody, Chris Lord back gave him some second thoughts, a second opinion on this.
Yeah. God, won't that be interesting?
That's gonna be like a new segment. It's like Chris Lord's second thoughts.
Yeah, well, because at least not with Lego Batman, but the last 2, I've been like the voice of negativity. I've already established that reputation, apparently, so I got to stick to it now.
That's right.
You're very much the Simon Cowell of this podcast.
I
He's
don't
still
know how
a
to
thing,
take.
right?
I don't know how to
Is he still a
take that
thing?
actually.
He's still a thing.
He's still a thing.
He still
still
is.
a thing?
America's Got Talent.
Wait, was he on? I
No,
don't
he's not
know.
on America.
Yeah.
Isn't he-
he's-
I don't know.
After
he was
Howard
on
Stern left, he
Britain's
took over.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Oh. Is he
There's-
still on Britain's Got Talent?
I know he left that just to do because America's where it's at.
Yeah.
Reintroducing Cameron.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Hey, I'm
about
back, guys.
Hey.
Bathroom one was pretty short.
All right,
Yeah?
guys,
Oh,
another
all right.
wild speculation. Did Cameron wash his hands?
I did. I
Nope,
did indeed.
You're gonna let us all smell them, and we're gonna just kidding.
Just suck on one of the fingers, man.
No, I think it's crossing. the
Cameron, those
line.
smell like balls. Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Oh, on that
So what are we
note.
talking about, guys?
Yes. So I mean, the nice thing about this is that James Gunn has already said that he's going to be doing Guardians 3. So whenever exactly that lines up
good.
coming out. But I mean, this is the nice thing out of all the films. So I mean, this is going to be one that's at least if it's only a trilogy. Who knows if they'll do more after that? But I mean, that you've got one true auteur over one set of characters there in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, and I think that's healthy going forward if they want these directors to kind of maintain like a thematic feel. Because I mean, we've talked about how Thor's changed so much, and Captain America from the first to the second one changed so much. But James Gunn's vision was so unique and so influential in the Guardians movies that I wouldn't want anybody else to do a Guardians movie, you know, especially not number 3.
No, yeah, and yeah, you're right. This will be the first time that someone has done their entire trilogy in the Marvel universe, and they seem to be getting
This Marvel universe.
in this Marvel
'Cause
universe.
they're
Yes.
they're still the Spider-Mans.
Ugh.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
all the
Because
Spider-Man.
I'm sure we also
Yeah.
thought the same thing after Spider-Man 2. Like, there's no one else
Yeah.
we would ever want to finish this series with.
Boy, were we wrong.
Oh, for
God.
sure.
But
No.
I feel like I don't think history is going to repeat itself with this one.
No, and I think if anything, Marvel's proven that they have a lot of confidence in what they're doing, and they haven't. I don't think they've done a single bad movie. Period. And I think that even the more recent stuff that's maybe less exciting has still been really good, and
Yeah.
they seem to
Oh,
have
yeah.
a lot of faith in their creatives. Yeah, I mean,
Trevor's song, by the way.
Yeah. I was
oh,
gonna
it is
say,
Trevor's.
it's
It is Trevor's song. Go, Trevor. Actually,
Guys,
no,
Trevor
boo,
died
boo
at the
Trevor.
beginning of this podcast, and we are having a Ravager funeral for him.
He stole
He
your
stole my
funeral.
thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, good
classic
guy.
Trevor.
Oh, that guy.
Now-
even
now we've-
even in death.
Now we found the thing that's gonna break up our version of the Guardians
The
here.
Guardians.
It's he stole your song.
Oh,
It's
no.
over for all of
How
us.
dare he? Next, he's gonna be playing Brandy. We're just gonna.
I mean, he's a fine girl, so.
As we speak about Spider-Man, this came up on my Instagram feed today, and I don't know anybody that really would ever consider buying this. I'll just show this to the room.
Oh.
It is a
What
a
the
print
fuck?
that you can buy with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and whatever his name is,
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Is that a sponsored ad?
Yep, all in their Spider-Man costumes, of course, with their masks off. So I don't know who is going to be having that on their wall.
Who? It has 54 likes.
It won't be on my wall, but it will be on my ceiling.
Who are these monsters?
Hey, they could bring those dudes back if they did like a Spider-Verse movie. You don't have them play those Spider. You could have them play like Spider Knight or fucking,
Yeah. I mean, that's don't put it past Sony to make a decision like that. So
And
And
Sony
if
has
that
its own
happens now,
watcher.
and you've put that into the universe now,
it's your fault.
it's your fault.
I
You
mean,
just-
everyone's still kind of back in the Donald Glover, Miles Morales, so that's his chance.
That's right. Look at
I don't know,
that.
he's too old to play Miles Morales
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
They're making an animated movie about it, right?
Yeah.
he voiced it in the most recent Spider-Man cartoon series.
Only for
He
one
was-
episode though.
Yeah.
But he's going to do it in the film.
Yay.
I love
So-
Donald Glover and I love Miles Morales, but I also think he's a little old to play.
Wait, no, he's not the voice of Miles Morales in the animated feature they're doing.
Isn't he?
No, it's somebody else. Can't remember who. It's
Really?
not him, and he has a role in Spider-Man: Homecoming, but clearly it won't be as Miles Morales.
I mean, he's not going to be in the. But he's doing the voice for the animated film though.
no, I don't think so. No, I thought it was somebody
Right now,
else.
somebody
I
listening
could
to
look.
this is screaming the right
There's
answer.
a battle
Yes.
going on. There's a phone
No,
battle.
all right, we're gonna
Thumbs
find
are
out
moving
this
at the
out.
speed of light. Who will solve this first?
Place your bets now, folks.
Team Frank, Team Chris.
Frank's fingers are literally bleeding.
Chris seems to stumble.
Wait, hang on,
And
found it.
Frank looks like he's texting.
Shamik Moore.
Oh, and Frank down for the count.
What is he done?
Tears of Fury.
Oh, the Get Down, dope. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Anyways, but no, it won't be.
Well, I boycott this film.
No childish
Fine.
Bambino for you.
Whatever. How dare he? All right.
Just have to wait for Spider-Man to come out. God.
All right. So after the high of this, we have our next film in our lineup is going to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's in
that's
like 2
next.
weeks, right?
June 2nd.
They have not been promoting it, and they just put an ad out that was like tickets, and you get a thing. This is discouraging, guys. It's like a Think Thin bar.
Oh,
With it. It's like a
come
women's
on.
protein, but
That's
like,
like,
hey,
I'd rather
wanna
them
be
give
like
out-
want
Come
protein
on.
but be skinny, and I find it very insulting, and I took it personally.
Buy
and
a
I
ticket,
shouldn't.
and my friend Bill will squeeze
It's
your
like-
cans.
There's like a weird.
On us, please, on us.
There's just like a weird. I'm like, you guys, you haven't been promoting this movie even a little bit, which always makes me concerned because whenever I see a movie with a ton of money behind it, with good talent and a like decent director, and then it doesn't have any promo at all, I'm like, uh-oh. And then you go and see it anyway, and you're like, well, now I see.
Yeah.
Now I see why. So I'm a little worried about it. But yeah, there was this. I'll look it up on my tiny computer.
Yeah, I'm.
They should have promoted the fuck out of it. Like, the first DC movie not directed by Zack Snyder. You guys are going to want to see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's her first theatrical film ever. This is a big deal.
It is, yeah, very much so.
And it being outshined by Cars 3 right now.
Ugh.
That trailer for that film looks so weird to me. It's like it's taking such a left turn in this franchise.
Well, I think I've brought this up before. I think it's going to be about like the transition from gas powered to electric powered. And the only reason I'm going to see that film is so I can see a Cars version of Elon Musk. If that's not in the movie, I'm going to walk out disappointed.
So, yeah, it's basically Wonder Woman partnered with Think Thin. So there are all of these tweets online of people that are just like, really? Like, you've got this. She's all we've had. She's the only one we've had who's like strong and awesome. And they're like, ladies, think thin and go see Wonder Woman. You're like, I hate you.
And, like,
What
that's
is stupid? And this is basically all of these articles that are basically just like, and it's like there's a tweet that's like, this enraged me. Male characters marketed to hell and back. Wonder Woman on a diet bar called Think Thin. Unacceptable. Like, just people that are just pissed. And I get it because it's like, make smart choices with your marketing. Like, can we not?
I mean, it would be terrible for like any female-driven film to have a partnership with that, but especially Wonder Woman, who's always like that's never been a thing with her, right? That she's
Right.
just awesome and badass, and it's never like, oh, she's got to be so thin and fit. Like,
Yeah.
that's not.
And I know some people are probably listening to this and being like, what's the big deal? Because I know they do partnerships all the time but it's like, this is the one you pick.
What's the
Like,
message
even
you're sending,
promoting the
though?
movie, and this is the product that you choose to partner with is like something called Think Thin. It's just it's super.
Well,
it's a super
what
bummer.
What flavor bar are they?
It's called Embrace the Patriarchy and Hate Yourself.
Oh, nice.
Very
Oh, is that the commercial where
peanut butter?
Kendall Jenner walks up to the cop and then hands him a Think Thin
Yeah,
bar?
yeah,
Think
Think
Thin.
Thin. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is one same
Right.
same company, same company. So
Well, if it's that crunchy peanut butter, I enjoy that flavor. So I'm all there.
well, you're looking very svelte around the hips,
Wow.
so
Aw.
Thank you.
that must be it.
I'm
Well,
ready to have a baby.
what?
No?
With
Is that how it
anything.
works? I can't.
Oh gosh.
That's not twin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of work to do, Frank.
Fine. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it'll be interesting. I want it to be good. I genuinely do. I just don't have the highest hopes, but hopefully.
Yeah, that's classic Simon Cowling that
That's
he's
just-
doing right now. Yeah, so that'll be our next one.
That will be it. So, any final thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
See it and have so much fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy every fucking second of it because literally from the time it starts to the fucking last credit, it's amazing.
Yeah, despite what I said earlier, it is a fun film, guys, and you should go see it.
Also, I want to apologize because if you haven't seen it yet and you're listening to this podcast, we kind of just ruined the whole thing.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, hey,
they should
spoilers,
know.
obviously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
They should
spoilers. We
know.
forgot
Spoiler
to say
alert,
that.
we're going to put that in right now.
Yeah.
That's true,
we'll
yes.
Put it in. Trevor, how about you?
Oh, I thought it was great, guys. Oh.
No, wow, Trevor's just a mop with googly eyes. That's so weird. Just been replaced.
Well, and glasses.
And glasses. Yeah.
I'm just gonna selfishly hijack this moment here for the podcast because we didn't talk about it because I didn't qualify as a superhero film. But Fate of the Furious came out. I know Cameron's a huge fan.
God, it was
Cameron,
so good.
real quick, what did you think?
Quickly.
I loved it.
We
oh
gave
man,
an
we
open mic.
dragged Chris along.
Yes.
And it was such a one. We had a game that we played in the theater, and we everyone around us hated us for this, but we were counting how many times I said family in the movie, and like
Chug.
What was
having
the
a
final count?
celebrate. We all had different numbers.
Yeah, okay, real quick. How many times do you think they said it in the movie?
27.
Okay.
I'm
Frank?
gonna guess 32.
Okay. Chris?
I'm gonna go low and say 18.
Okay, that's funny you said that because my guess was also 18 for purely the reason that it had 8. Both of them had 8 and then like stuff like that. That's something they would do. It was 16.
Ooh.
Oh.
Like,
Are you counting fam? Because that's another word for family. I don't know if you guys know that.
I don't know if they actually said it or not, but I'm sure we would have counted it. If, yeah. Guys.
Because we counted family and familia, because it's the two they said the most.
What about familial?
I don't think they get into that hip lingo. in
What
this
about
film.
bro? Do they give a lot of bros?
No,
bros
we
are
didn't.
fam.
We didn't count bro. Just family. Anyone can say it. But we were having like celebrations in our seats every time they said it, and I could just feel everyone around us like we were those guys in the theater, and it made the experience so much more enjoyable for us.
All right. There you go.
What did you think of it, Frank? On a quick note.
I feel like between what they set up here, I'm hoping 9 and 10 kind of explain it because just the way that they're able to so quickly say like, "Hey, Jason Statham, yeah, we know you murdered one of our family," And sure, we set up a little bit that you were also protecting your family, but it still feels weird that they're all like, man, we're just working together. We're gonna save the day. Like that seems so weird to me.
Yeah.
And then also, if you're setting up that Brian is still alive in this universe,
That's what I'm excited for the most is the excuses.
yeah,
Brian can't do it. He's got to take his kid to preschool.
He's doing his taxes.
I guess, but like
It's
even
like
at the
every
end,
movie.
where they're all together on top of the building, he could have just been in the background.
Right.
He didn't need to say a line of dialogue or anything, but just like, oh yeah, the family gets together because they can hang out still when they're not on weird missions. But I don't know.
How about that? Oh, sorry. go ahead.
Do we care about spoiling Fast the Fate of the Furious?
Spoilers, guys, for Fate of the Furious.
Okay, yeah, because what I think is so funny is that Dom's kid is named Brian, so they're pretending like you just name your kid after your brother-in-law just randomly.
Best man I know.
Yeah, despite the fact that he's not actually dead, like they
know.
treat him like I don't know it.
But I guess if they would have called him Paul, it would have been too weird, I guess.
Well, there's still
Yeah.
Han. Everyone is complaining about this.
Yeah.
Han did die in that franchise
That's
by
true.
the guy who brought the baby in.
That very yes. And I was speaking of that, like I feel like Elsa has like one of the weakest characters. She's so poorly treated in this
Charlize
whole.
Theron.
No, Chris Hemsworth's wife.
Oh,
The
okay.
mom.
All right.
The one who got shot.
Yes,
And
like-
that's the reason she got shot.
Like that character has been so poorly serviced in all these films that she's been in.
Is it because she didn't have enough think thin bars?
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly
Yeah.
why. She had a bad franchise partner.
Yeah. How about that steamy on-screen chemistry between Vin Diesel and Charlize
That was
Theron?
beautiful.
Just I could feel the heat.
I mean, it's not though as good as watching Michelle Rodriguez have to pretend to be attracted to Vin Diesel. Like,
And do we like the addition of Scott Eastwood to kind of fill that Paul Walker vacuum?
Did this just
I mean-
become a full-on Fate of the Furious podcast?
Just asking. I think I was hijacking
You
it.
just like completely.
Or it's
I
a
know.
two-part podcast.
That's right.
Oh, great. It's like, and for our third hour,
Trevor's gonna come back like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
you left. You don't get a say.
We're
You're
here
not
talking Beauty and the Beast of our part 4 of the podcast.
But because I originally read that Kurt Russell was supposed to be Paul Walker's dad, but then when he got what happened with Paul Walker, then they had to change it. So now he's Scott.
He's Peter Quill's dad.
That's right. He had to go be Peter Quill's dad.
Way to bring it back around. From
That's right.
There you go. Brought it
And
back.
that was
All right,
Guardians.
that was our little. That was a little Fate of the Furious tangent right there. Yeah, I was excited. I knew Cameron was gonna be. I wanted to chat. with him.
Oh,
I
I'm
was-
sure that's
Because we didn't get to talk about it very much on our podcast.
We should just start scheduling
Chris refused.
podcasts.
we didn't get to talk about it too much. The irony, of course, is I actually brought it up on our podcast. You didn't.
You did. That's
Yeah.
true.
Look at that.
We should start scheduling podcasts to talk with Cameron about these movies that we think he's just going to be delighted about that Chris is going to hate discussing.
Oh man, you want to talk? You want to talk? Boss Baby, I got you.
Yes,
I got you.
I will say I did see Alien Covenant.
That's right, you did.
I did. Yeah.
Is it out already, or did you
I got a little
get?
early.
Did you get
It
Comes
some
out
nice
the 19th.
LA?
Damn it,
How
Frank.
was
Bonus.
Kenny Powers?
He was actually really good.
Okay.
He was good in it. And if you love Xenomorphs, then you'll be happy with this movie. But if you're interested in like just following like logic that the first film tries to set up,
Well,
then,
what the fuck,
yeah.
Prometheus? You
I
did
know.
confuse everybody.
That's right.
You found a way to bring it back around, and then you went off again.
But you know what? It takes
Alien.
place in the cold, dark reaches of space,
Keep pulling.
Oh,
kind of
to-
like Guardians of the Galaxy.
to loop it back into Guardians
Yes.
really quick. I was at Disneyland today. The Guardians ride comes out May 20th, or it opens May 26th.
Noise.
For everyone in LA and for not go to Disneyland. But in this movie, there were moments where I was like, so it was in the back of my head, where like Rocket and them are when they're flying through the asteroid belt. I'm like, this would be a pretty cool ride, wouldn't it? And so I'm very curious. We'll probably bring it up on our podcast what the ride is going to be about. But yeah,
Oh, interesting.
When are they opening that?
May 26th.
Way to listen to what Cameron was saying.
This is actually really exciting. I just got somebody that I know just text to let us know that he just subscribed to our podcast.
Oh, well, look at
So
that.
it's relevant because it's relevant to the podcast. It's podcast related.
It
I'm
had
not
the word
answering.
podcast.
I'm not answering the text from my poor dad, who's like, "Are you up for a call?" And I'm like, "I can't because it's not fun." But this one, it was a picture of our icon.
Nice.
May 29th, you say?
There you go.
26.
Damn it all!
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm
There you go.
sorry.
Are we still going to try to solicit Cameron to design us a new logo?
Yes.
Oh.
God.
Yeah, you should do that, Cameron.
Yeah. Now that we're putting the
If
pressure
you're not
on,
peeing all the time,
I.
I can bring my laptop into the bathroom.
Oh, haven't we all? Yeah, way to put him on the spot now that
That's
he's
true.
like has no choice. So
No,
guys, everybody listening,
Of course, we're
everybody's
going to compensate him.
fan.
Of course.
Well, of course.
If he's interested.
Of
We're not going to
course.
force him to.
I'm just saying. You guys, though, listen, you should check out Cameron, I've known you now for a little while, and I just discovered your amazing Instagram and your awesome art. So
thank you
I'm
so
super
much.
fangirling over Cameron's art. Everybody should check it out. Cameron, what's your handle?
Cameron.dexter on
Yes.
Instagram.
Check it out. He does these amazing. Most of the ones that I've seen are Disney inspired, but they're beautiful animations. And when the Novice and Frank gets its new logo that Cameron will now design for us, check that out too.
Well, Cameron just doesn't do that. He also does an amazing podcast called Timm Talk.
I thought for a second you legitimately forgot it, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm not helping you."
Well,
Give it-
I thought you were like leaving the window open for Cameron to jump in and talk about his own podcast, but
Yeah.
I'll do that.
So Chris and Cameron do Timm Talk.
Yeah, Timm Talk. So it's all about the DC animated universe, starting with Batman animated series. We just got through season 1. We just recorded Mask of the Phantasm, which will be our next episode up.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Any excuse to go watch that movie. It was great. And then we'll be moving on to Superman, and then going all the way through Static Shock, Zeta Project, eventually into Justice League and Justice League Unlimited.
quick sidebar on that. Which design of the Joker do you like better? The Batman the Animated Series or the new Batman Adventures?
Well, technically, there's also the third one with Justice League, which is kind of like
True.
a bit of in between. I'm just in general more partial to the new Batman Adventure design of everything. So.
I would agree.
Oh, I'm gonna go the other route.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I like I really like the sleekness and like the a little more minimal style of New Batman Adventures. But I don't know. There's just something that's so iconic about this version or the Batman animated series version of the Joker that just kind of resonates with
You
me.
don't have to defend your opinion. It's okay.
No,
No.
Valid.
He must defend his
Yes.
opinions because they're often terrible.
What? Oh, you guys, quite the pair. And we've got another guest podcast. You wanna
Yes,
promote
yes. I'm Chris Fembres.
And I'm Trevor Reed.
Oh, mop with googly eyes. Classic you.
And we do the podcast of Two Worlds, all about Flash. We go over the TV show, Jeff Johns' run, and the Flash comics we're going over right now. And we mix a little bit of everything in there. Some fan talk, some erotic talk.
Oh, I like that.
Ooh.
Erotic.
Whoa.
So, Chris, the revelation that Savitar, for those of you who have been maybe not caught up, but I will spoilers.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler. That Savitar is just a time remnant of Barry. Great reveal, terrible reveal.
It would have been better if he was, if the reveal that Barry was an evil speedster. I think if it would have came with Zoom last year, it would have been a little more impactful. There was a lot of hints, and you felt it. I mean, there's some couple episodes left, so maybe he could do something to solidify himself as being worthy as a main villain of a season.
Do you never want? Me personally, I never want to see a speedster as a main villain.
Never.
again.
It should have been the Rogues Gallery this whole season. They should have just been developing the Rogues, their connection to the city, and then have a big final battle against Barry.
I agree. Look at that. And Amanda, do you do a podcast?
I do a podcast. Thank you so much for asking.
Oh, okay, what podcast do you do?
I do a podcast called The Novice and Frank. It's
my
a
God,
comic
who
book
do you do it
podcast.
with?
I do it with a guy named Frank who.
Oh, he's a jerk.
I know, but you know what? I love him in spite of himself.
Oh.
Sometimes he keeps changing the subject, and the podcasts don't end ever. But
He's all hopped up on thin bars.
He's
That's
super
right.
hopped up on thin bars. It's his svelte figure. But yeah, you can check out that podcast on iTunes or Podbean. We're part of the Nerdist School Network.
Look at that.
We keep good company. And you can suggest whatever you want us to talk about, we'll talk about. If you tweet at us at Comic Book Novice on Twitter or Instagram, or they can email us.
That's true. Yeah, or you could just walk over to wherever we are at any particular moment.
Yeah, use your spidey senses and come find
Yes.
us. We're probably in your neighborhood pie shop.
That's true. There
That's
you go.
right. If you don't want to talk to me and you only want to talk to Frank, I get it. I get it. You can find him at a Happy Go Jackie.
That's true. Look at all the pictures of food that I eat, or stuff that I do.
All that stuff
that I do. That's
so you
right.
can check it out. So please, thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another epic Nerdist School Network crossover podcast. Recording, and you can maybe hear Trevor saying goodbye in the background if you listen closely enough. And are we going to sing ourselves out?
And
I think we have to.
that's
Yeah,
right.
right.
we have
There you
to.
go.
Otherwise, then we'll never know the podcast is over. All right.
I love you, but I got to go.
We're like the Cheers characters up in the space of sky.
To make sure I don't come back to you, gonna put some cancer in your brain.
We brought up cancer in the closing theme song because it got real dark. But we've been working together and having a great time.
Chris Lord solo.
Sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl.
What a good wife you would be.
But my life, but loving my lady.
And Trevor's a cocksucking piece of shit.
Thank you for joining us today with Timm Talk and the podcast of two worlds and the Novice and Frank.
Close it out, Cameron.
Boodoo.
Thank you and good night.
Oh, goddamn.
The Nerdist School Network. For class and show information, visit nerdistschool.com.